All right, let's compare those two experiences. The first time, yes, but. What happened? How did that feel to you guys? What was that experience like? Ooh. Somebody died of mercury poison in the first version. What else was happening in the first version? Yes, but.
It was easier.
Okay.
It was like every step you took, you tripped.
Every step you took, you tripped.
Get momentum going.
Okay, you can get any momentum going in the conversation. What else was happening in yes, but?
I felt my enthusiasm dropping on each round.
Right, your enthusiasm kept going down with every verbal exchange.
My frustration kept going up.
Oh, your frustration went up.
Well, it's like button is such a, I automatically thought about a negative way to respond to that. And like the word button, it's like, well, it needs to be like a shooting down effort instead of
All right. You went negative. You were trying to shoot down your partner's idea every time. All right, and then the yes and version. What was that like? Yes and.
Building momentum in each step.
You built momentum in each step.
I want to say something about the yes
Yeah.
but. We actually use it as a way to remove the impediments to going out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So if you're wearing a T-shirt that says Scrum Inc. on it, you're really good at removing impediments. And yes, but was
Yes, but they're not the only ones.
yes, and we can all do that too. What else about the experience of yes and?
Sorry, I'm going to go back to this, but also, and I think you can do that. Yesterday I learned about evil twin pair programming, and this felt like that.
Ooh, okay. Yes, but felt like evil twin pair programming.
Where you, anyway, it's turned it into a game.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a fun game. Other people, yes, but versus yes, and. How did they feel? Yeah. Oh, yes, and had too much momentum. Okay. Yes, and you can pay. Yes, and I don't know. We'll do some crowdfunding.
I think if the point of the exercise is sort of, the and versus the but, the negative versus the positivity, that's one thing. But some of the statements can go either way. Really, sort of. In other words, I think it becomes a tone, not the message. Maybe that's not the point.
Yeah, exactly. It's the tone, and the tone of yes and is about being positive. The tone of yes and is, that's a good idea. I like your idea.
Even if it's a lowering of the momentum, it can still be sounding.
Yeah. Even if you're changing something about your partner's idea, it's yes and we can keep building on things together. Versus yes but, which sort of has a negative bias. We don't have any more time for comments on this part, but thank you. We will have a lot more debrief as we go. So that's the idea. This is like a beginning improv acting exercise. There's a whole session today on improv. If you like this kind of thing, you should do that. Go to that session. Who's doing that session? Yeah, Todd. Go to Todd's session. What time is it, Todd? At 1 o'clock. If you want to do more improv acting activities, go to Todd's session at 1 o'clock. It's going to be super fun. And the basic idea is to respect each other's ideas and to build on each other. And this is a choice we can make on our teams. We can choose to sort of be negative, have a negative bias for each other, or we can choose to have this positive bias. And teams that have this positive bias, well, this is one of the foundational elements of team emotional intelligence, psychological safety, and all the rest. So you might try this. Another thing we could try is we tell a story. We just build on each other's ideas. We do some improv storytelling. As we go around tables telling a story to each other, you always say yes and you make the story better. We don't have time for this today, but we could do this another time. The first time I saw this photo, it was on a slide from Woody. And now Woody's paying attention. And so I've been, I used to write a lot of code. I used to be pretty good at it, or at least I thought I was pretty good at it. Way back in olden times, this is like antiquated Agile times, way back in antiquated times, the books about extreme programming came out, and I was in another really fortunate place in my life. I happened to be doing like independent contract code writing, and I happened to have a gig with some of my friends, and we were writing code together, and we got this book, and we're reading it, and we're trying out some of the ideas. The way I thought about the idea back then was this sort of premise of extreme programming was if it's hard or if it hurts, then you do it all the time. And then as I've had a chance to spend more time with Woody, I've heard it the other way, and I like this way better. If it's good, you turn it up. So turn up the good. And that's what this is supposed to show you. Turn up the good. So and that's what positive bias is. It's if you see something good on your team, do more of it. If somebody has a good idea, make it better, even just a little bit better. That's the positive bias idea, right? And this is where I start thinking about this idea of extreme teaming, extreme team building, or continuous team building. If you see something good on your team, turn it up, do more of it, whatever it is. Just do yes and. That's a good thing that you just did. Let's do more. The second layer in this stack is freedom. So if you do this positive bias stuff on your team, you're on your way to having a really good team. On top of that, we've got this layer that we call freedom or autonomy. And the freedom layer goes like this. It's kind of like the basis of any great team culture, maybe the basis of any great culture. People are free, people have autonomy. I think Tyagi mentioned Drive, Dan Pink's book, and autonomy is one of the things that goes into you feel good about your work and you have high performance, at least as an individual. Same thing for a team. Autonomous team members are the components of a really great team. And so now we're getting into the core protocols. There's a cheat sheet in the handout for the core protocols. You could look at the book. You could get this stuff for free. You can download my book from GitHub. It's totally free. We've got the core commitments. It's just it's a set of agreements, very explicit agreements we make with each other as a team. And you're free to do it or not. Right? Nobody's coercing you to sign the core commitments and say you agree with this. It's up to you. You have a choice. Two very specific behavior patterns that are in the core protocols that probably cause team emotional intelligence and psychological safety. First one is called pass. Pass is a very easy behavior pattern to try out. It goes like this. Anytime there's something happening on your team or somebody asks you to do something, you don't feel like doing it in the moment for any reason, you just say, I pass. Maybe it's your turn in the daily stand-up. You just don't feel like doing it right now. Pass. It's that easy. And nobody tries to coerce you not to pass. Nobody asks you why you're passing, because if they did, it wouldn't be safe to pass. You wouldn't have the psychological safety. You just say pass. And a cultural agreement we make with each other is it's okay to pass anytime you want. And we don't ask you why, we don't try to get you not to pass. And then if you feel like getting back in, you unpass. You just say, I'm passing back in, it's my turn in the daily stand-up or whatever, and I'll go. I'm going to keep going. We don't have a lot of time for questions, but I'll be here all day and tomorrow at Open Space. Yeah. The second one is called checkout, another behavior pattern for freedom, for autonomy. If something doesn't feel right, you check out. You physically leave the space. You're sort of making a commitment that when you're with your team, when you're physically present, you're totally engaged in what the team is doing, and you're totally in on it with them. And if you can't, for any reason, be totally engaged with the team, like, oh, I lost something, I better go get it. Or whatever, I've got to make a phone call, send some email to somebody, but we were working together. Oh, we're in a meeting, but I've got something else to do right now. You check out, you physically leave the space. It looks like this, I'm checking out. Right? And your absence indicates that you're not engaged with the team. So it makes it really easy for your teammates to know that you are engaged with them because you're present. And physical presence means total presence. If you can't be totally present, tell everybody you can't be totally present, just check out. Same kind of agreements apply. Nobody asks you why you're checking out. Nobody tries to coerce you not to check out. Nobody talks about you for checking out. So it's totally safe. And again, these are like cultural behavior patterns that sort of lead to psychological safety, which we've heard leads to high-performance teams. So these are some things you can try. So we've got these agreements, these cultural behavior patterns for positive bias and for freedom. On top of that, there's this layer of self-awareness. So we're still sort of building up individuals and individual behavior, individual patterns of behavior for the people on your team, for yourself. And the idea is that for a great team, you have to have great individuals who can work together really well. You've got to have great people. And self-awareness, knowing who you are, knowing what you want, knowing your current state, that's a really important element of being a great person, a great individual. There are a few behavior patterns for this. They're called check-in, ask for help, personal alignment. We're going to do a few activities around these behavior patterns. Fill in the blank. I feel blank. You could do this in the little work page if you want. You could write down how you feel right now. How do you feel right now? I feel blank. Use any word you want.